I wanted to increase my persuasiveness when I recruit pals, so I crafted a stone spear to help me. I randomly got raided, however. Good thing I made the spear earlier. This last guy was unsure whether he wanted to participate in the raid or not, but I made sure to intimidate him and he withdrew. My pals were looking for stuff to do around the base, so I decided to build a stone pit to keep them busy. I always look out for the well-being of my employees. I also built a logging camp for those who would rather do that instead. Looking to open up more job opportunities, I decided to upgrade my base. Then, it was time to do more recruiting. These Cativas were more than happy to join. These Pangolins were a little skeptical about the job description and tried to make some counter-arguments. Some went as far as launching some pointed comments at me, but with the new persuasive power that the Stone Spear granted me, their concerns were all addressed and they were excited to join me. I went a little overboard with the recruiting because of the power of the Stone Spear, so I knew I had to open up more jobs. So, I upgraded my base again. While my employees now had things to do around my base, they looked a little fatigued with all the new work. Being the kind boss that I am, I decided to build some recreational facilities for my employees to relax a bit. A hot spring sounded like the perfect thing. I was missing a few resources though, so I had to set out to find some water-type pals. When they sign on with me, these pals like to give me a gift, and I needed those gifts to build the hot springs. I found this Pangolin who decided to join after a little convincing, giving me a gift as the deal was closed. Great success! I found a couple of fox parks nearby. I knew they would enjoy being part of my team, so I decided to open up negotiations with them. They made some reasonable arguments, but I was able to address all their concerns, although they were still hesitant when I offered them the job. However, after a little bit more persistence on my part, they decided to join. With these new recruits joining my team, I knew I had to make sure they felt comfortable and at home, so I made more beds for them. I was also worried that my berry farm would not be enough to feed me and all my new recruits, so I built a second one. I couldn't risk leaving my employees hungry. Going back to recruit some more pals, I found this pair of Xaliter. Remembering my previous failure in recruiting them, I knew I had to go all out. I decided to bring my lucky fox parks to the negotiations. They got wiped out by the arguments pretty fast. Panicked, I brought out my Cremis, but I wasn't fast enough. The arguments were too much for me to handle and I got wiped out as well. My Cremis put up a valiant effort though, making an Xaliter back down. Remembering my employees' recreational facilities again, I went back to recruit more Pangolins. I brought the help of my Gumas to even the playing field. Our negotiations were full of back and forths. But we made quick work of the negotiations. I ran into a couple of rush wars on my journey. They were so interested in my job openings that they initiated the negotiations with me. Knowing that they already wanted to join made negotiations much easier. Lift monks are always a prized prospect. I cannot miss out on any opportunities to recruit them. I saw the Sparkit wandering around. I knew I had to employ him as I did not have an electric-type pal yet. Negotiations went very smoothly, and there were no significant arguments or hesitation on the Sparket's part. My employees were excited to witness the unveiling of the new hot springs. I know they'll love it. I found another pair of Xaliter. I thought that there was no way I'd fail negotiations 3 times in a row. I made sure to bring some pals to help me. Negotiations were rough. The Xaliter made good arguments and almost wiped me out. But with the help of my pals, I was able to convince them enough to ask if they'd be willing to join me. After a lot of hesitation, one decided to join my team. The other was not convinced enough and decided to depart from us. At least negotiations went better this time. After exploring the area a bit more, I ran into another Xaliter. This one was alone. I knew I couldn't mess these negotiations up. I brought out my Gumas to help me and later brought out my Pengulet. We eventually were able to convince the Xaliter to join me. Perfect success! I ran into a couple more prize prospects and I knew I could not leave without making an attempt to recruit them. They were happy to join. As I was running around, I spotted an Xaliter eyeing a fortification. I was not sure what was going on around that fortification, but I was not going to let this opportunity escape my grasp. I opened up negotiations, but the Xaliter was not able to withstand both my arguments and my Pengulet's arguments. Unfortunately, they backed off. Another failure. Curious about what the fortification held, I decided to investigate. I found a bunch of the same hooligans who tried to raid my base earlier. They were not happy to see me. They immediately began making pointed comments and I returned the favor with the help of my lucky Foxparks. They could not handle both me and my Foxparks and they got wiped out. I saw a cage in the middle with a sad-looking Flambell. Upon releasing the Flambell, they were so happy that they wanted to join me immediately. I couldn't say no to that. I came back to the base to tell the others of my adventure.